back, everyone. So today what we're going to do is talk about constant of proportionality in tables and equations and constant of proportionality. So we're going to make sure we can write the constant of proportionality as an entry in a table. And we're going to write an equation in the form of y equals kx to represent a proportional relationship described by a table or a story. And we did this in a previous lesson, but we're going to practice this a little bit more and make sure that we can understand those tables and read those tables very well. So, just to review, we know that an equation that is proportional is in this format, y equals k times x. And k is our constant of proportionality. And then examples of proportional equations. You've got y equals 4x, y equals 2x, or it doesn't have to be y and x. It can be any other variable. C equals 1/2 p. And then also remember, if we have a equals b or y equals x, there's understood to be a 1 in front of that variable simply because there's only one of them. Okay? And non-examples, remember they have extra stuff, they don't have a variable, or they have some other things in there, okay? So let's just practice these two questions really quick and then we'll move on to our new material. So I've got this table, I've got a y and an x, and I want to make sure I write an equation in the form y equals k times x, and k is our constant of proportionality. So I need to figure out what my constant of proportionality is. What am I multiplying by to go from x to y? So 3 times some number equals 7. I know I can use the inverse operation. I can, instead of multiplying by 3, I can divide my product 7 by 3. And I can't simplify this anymore, so I'm going to keep it. I get 7/3. So let me try the 6 and 14 and make sure I'm right on this. I'm going to use inverse operation and divide. I know I can divide both of these by 2, and I get 7/3. So I know that my COP is equal to 7/3. So my equation is y equals 7/3 x. Whoops. So y equals 7/3 x. For the second table, we don't have any COP defined yet, and we have some missing boxes. So let's just name this x and this y. And we have to figure out what the constant of proportionality is based on these two. I'm going to start with 15 and 12. 15 times some number gives me 12. I know that it's getting smaller, so I know that my constant of proportionality is less than 1, because 15 times 1 is 15. So let's see what we get. Again, we're going to use the inverse operation, product divided by 15. If I simplify this down into, I can divide by 3 for both of these. Oops. So I'm going to get 4/5. Okay? So I know that 4/5, or this time let's use a decimal. I know that 4/5 is equal to 0.8. All right? So now I'm going to pull out my calculator. 15 times 0.8 is 12. Let's make sure that we're right. Let's check 25. 25 times 0.8, that gives us 20. So we know that we're multiplying by 0.8. So some number times 0.8 is equal to 4. I'm not going to do 4 times 0.8 because that would give me a smaller number in the x, and I need the larger number to be an x. So I'm going to use my inverse operation. 4 divided by 0.8, and I get 5. Let's do the second one. 8 divided by 0.8. I get 10. Now I want you guys to make one up. I'm counting by 5s here, so let's do the 20, the one that would be between 15 and 20. 20 times 0.8 is 16. So my COP, constant of proportionality, is 0.8. So my equation is y is equal to 0.8 times x. And remember, a number and a letter always mean multiplying when they're beside each other. So that was a simple review. Now let's talk about some real life stuff. So here's a question for you. Mario travels 180 miles in 2.5 hours. If Mario travels at the same rate, how far will Mario travel in 5 hours? And it gave us a table. So the problem tells us he goes 180 miles in 2.5 hours. So for 2.5 hours, I'm going to write 180 in my table. And I want to know how far he travels in 5 hours. Well, we have to find the constant of proportionality for our table, right? So 2.5 times something equals 180. Remember, inverse operation, your product divided by 2.5. I'm going to use a calculator. And I get 72. So I know that my constant of proportionality is 72. So I can do 72 times 5, and I get 360. If I were to complete my table and multiply by 72 every time, I would get these values. You can pause the video and check that. Now, here's another question. How many miles does Mario travel in 1 hour? Remember, the amount for 1 is our unit rate, and constant of proportionality is the unit rate. So, if I were to travel for 1 hour and multiply by 72, in 1 hour, I go 72 miles. Okay? So that's the way we can use this in real life. And we need this when we're trying to figure out gas mileage and how much gas costs and things like that. Second one. While training for a marathon, Keith's watch reported how many calories he burned at each mile marker. The data is shown below. So you got miles and you got calories burned. Is the number of calories proportional to the number of miles? Well, we know what this word proportional means. They change by the same scale factor. So let's see. I know that 1 times something equals 117. Well, we know that any number times 1 is that number. So it's 117. So let's see if we get that answer. 2 times 117 is 234. 3 times 117, 351. 4 times 117, 468. 5 times 117, 585. So, proportional means same scale factor. Are we multiplying by the same thing every time? Yes. And we can say scale factor of 117. Or we can just show our work. Then it says the next day Keith ran 7.5 miles. How many calories did he burn? Well, if I know for 1 mile he burns 117, I'm going to multiply that by our constant of proportionality, 7.5 times 117. And we get 877.5 miles. Calories. Don't forget to put your units. Then it asked us, what is the constant of proportionality? Well, remember, constant of proportionality is just that unit rate or that scale factor. What are we multiplying by to go from miles to calories burned? 117. And now it says write an equation to explain this relationship. Well, I know that the calories is equal to 117 times the miles. So C is equal to 117m because we're writing it in that format, y equals kx. Okay? So your practice today, you're going to read each question and then answer and fill in the table as it tells you to. So please make sure that you do that, and then we will go over it later.